Okay, guys, sorry. I guess I was in another meeting, and now everybody's on. So I'm going through the sales process here. This is Mr. and Mrs. Jones. This is the mortgage protection. We already stated that it was $258,000. I'm going to go through mortgage protection, annuities, and final expense in this, but I'm also going to explain leads and how you guys can get more leads and why you need to get your lead flow up and how to get it up fast. So Mr. and Mrs. Jones, 65. Mrs. Jones, out of the two of you, who earns the two with the higher Social Securities? This is important language that you're learning every week. Out of the two of you, who earns the two with the higher Social Securities? Mrs. Jones, Social Security is, let's say it's $750 a month. Mr. Jones, Social Security is, let's say it's $1,800 a month. Actually, let's make him $2,000 for even numbers, and let's make her $1,000. So total, we know an income now. We know so far they have $3,000 a month coming in, and they have a mortgage of $1,000 a month. So we negative that, that's $2,000 they have left over, but they have more bills, as you guys know. So at the end of the month, what do you have left, Mr. and Mrs. Jones? Do you have anywhere between $250 to $500 a month left over? And at the end of this thing, this is where you want to be, is to understand what's left over at the end of the month, so you can understand what size policy to sell. If I have $250 left in somebody's hand at the end of the month, and that's what they have, and that's what they're putting in their savings account, then this is extra money that they can afford anywhere from $50, $100, even $150 to present them without their visual aspects breaking the bank. Now, right here, you can easily go $100, $200, even $300 and leaving them $200 a month left over to spend. So you can get policies that cover what? The equity. That's important. Now, Mr. Jones, here's the other question. Now, this is where you pull the annuities out. Mr. Jones, are you leaving Mrs. Jones with anything else? Are you leaving her a pension, 401k, anything in that order, 403b, any stock-based products? Yes, I am. I have a 401k. 9 times out of 10, that's what they have, either that or a pension, sometimes a 403b. Now, how much will she receive from that? You know how I ask this is important too, because it takes the fear of them meeting somebody new and giving all this information about their finances out. So how I ask is important. So when I ask how much is she receiving from the 401k, it's a different way of asking. Believe me, I've tested this and it works. 401k, I'm leaving her $150,000 behind. So now you have your annuity product, okay? Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I came here today to present you this opportunity to cover the mortgage, and I want to teach you guys how it's done. Now, Mrs. Jones, if God forbid Mr. Jones isn't here anymore, would you even live in this home? Would you stay in this house? 9 times out of 10, to be honest with you, they say no, I wouldn't. Believe it or not, they would move. So if it's a northern house and they've been there forever, the reason is it could be the house is too big. They have to downsize. You know, and financially it makes sense for them to sell the house for the equity inside and retire on that. So some people don't want to sell and they're forced to sell. So you have to prepare them for what actually will happen financially due to the way Mr. Jones is leaving her. So at the end of this, they have $150,000. Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I came here today. I want to lay all the cards on the table. I want you guys to understand every aspect of this so you have a better positioning on your future, so you understand where you're going to lie, and Mrs. Jones doesn't have to worry about money. So I'm going to do an illustration on this that shows you effectively how we show people how to double the money every 10 years. So we're just showing people how to double their money. Now, effectively, it could go up, it could not go up, but you'll never lose a dime. But I'm just doing an illustration. So all you're presenting to them really is an illustration at this point. That's it. It's not going to kill them to look at this. You're not selling, you're just telling, okay? So you got all the cards on the table. You know the Social Security monthly. You know what the monthly mortgage is. If you need to, go through every damn bill there is. Ask them what the electric bill costs. I have sheets that I can fax over to you or PDF you that labels mortgage, electric, car, insurance, things like that. Every bill that somebody pays every month is on that sheet, and all you do is go through it with them, and mathematically you can literally show them how much money they have left over at the end of the month. Or you can reverse this and just ask the question, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, after all your bills are paid, everything's paid, do you have between $250 to $500 a month left over? Yes. Which one are you closer to? Closer to 500. Great. Is it more than 500 or is it just 500? It's actually, you know, we know it's 500 because of the mathematics here, but this is not all a conclusion. But at the end of this, I know now I can sell this, this, or this, and it'll stay on the books. Now I have a high premium in my mind. So I have a high premium and an annuity to sell now. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to present the product. So in a healthy scenario for me, for me anyway, it makes sense to shine on people a product that will make them money, has the highest interest rates, but a lot of you don't sell this. So if you're with certain companies that only earn, like, I'm big on cash value is what I'm trying to say. So if I teach somebody how to use cash value to manipulate their money, then this does a couple things. I'm going to show you right now. So Mr. Jones, let's say we get a $25,000 policy. It's on him for Mrs. Jones to sell the home. Here's the timeline: 1, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years. You can show them the equity. Now we know it's about let's say it's $75,000 in 10 years. I'm just doing this as an illustration. My math may be a little off. But the $75,000 means this is why she's selling. She's going to walk away with that number using this. Tell her to leave the retirement alone. She's going to need it. If he dies in 10 years, she's only tell her age. She's going to be 75 years old. You may have 10 or 20 more years to live. So leave your retirement alone. So what you want to do is use this. Let's say this product is $100 a month. It fits in their budget. We know it does. We know that they have $500 a month left over. So show them out of that, this is what you have. All your bills are paid, and you still have $400 left over a month. Now they feel comfortable. So you sold the policy. Basically, it's sold. So this, once you show them what's left over every month, sorry about these pens, you can really effectively shine in their mind the fact that they have the money left over. They're not going to be hurt by this financially. And that's what people are looking for. When you're the expert inside the house, you can't just drop 3 numbers and not explain why. You have to make them understand every aspect if you're going to stick big numbers on the books. Now, at this effect, I could easily tell them too, look, you know what, you're left over at $400. I'm going to tell you right now, if this house doesn't sell in a year, she's going to be in a bad place too. So my professional opinion would be to get her $50,000 and just up this to $200, leaving you $300 a month left over, and all your bills are paid. Okay, so and here's the special part. This is the twist that you're going to like. If Mrs. Jones passed away before Mr. Jones, and this builds large cash value, as I should teach you to do, then he effectively in 10 years, let's say she's 75 and she passes away, and inside this bucket is $10,000 in cash value, which it could be close to using my interest levels on some of these carriers who have large cash value interest rates. So if you do it this way, you have large interest rates on their cash, meaning if she dies first, he walks away with the cash value. If he dies, she walks away with 50 grand. His investment's secure. Basically, all he's doing is renting. Then you can teach him how to overfund it to actually make money on the interest. So, and it comes with living benefits too, guys. Explain all the details of the product, and you'll be able to sell more product. A lot of you don't understand the product. Call the carrier. Call the carrier and ask them to teach you about the products. Know how to do illustrations. Really effectively walk in with the illustration already done. Know what the hell you're going to sell. If you're just selling regular final expense and things like that, you can't really do this, but you can upgrade to this system and it'll sell larger premiums because you're explaining the numbers to them. At the end of the day, inside your household, every day that you're out there selling and doing math, if somebody walks through your door and wants to present something that costs $50, $100, $200, you're going to want to know what it leaves you at the end of the month. So really, they don't even know. People guess. They just buy things and then they fit it into the budget. But if you have them invest into this and then tell them it fits it into the budget, you have sold a better product and it sticks longer and they feel comfortable buying it. So a lot of you just don't put 3 numbers on. Here's 5th, Mrs. Jones. Mrs. Jones, here's an illustration. Here's a couple options: 50, 100, 125. Choose between those three. She doesn't know what's left over at the end of the month. So if you do it this way, I'm telling you, you're going to sell more product. You're going to sell a lot more product. All you need to do is get in a home. So at the end of this thing too, I also have the annuity. So guess what? I'm going to get this product paid for with the annuity interest. So I'm going to tell them, look, I don't want you paying for this product at all, okay? You're not going to have to come out of pocket for this. And I'm going to show you why. I'm going to get an illustration done on $150,000, okay? Now, it has a 10-year look back. So that means for the last 10 years, if they were with the company, that would have been $320-something thousand with bonus. Okay? So using our product, I'm not going to name who it is, but you would double their numbers with proof. If they were with the company for the past 10 years, you would have showed them that they would be at this number. Instead, they're with the 401k that goes up, down, up, down, up, down. They're participating in all these downsides, and you have to prove that. You have to show them. Plus, what else is involved? There's fees. Most people pay 2% in fees. That means if somebody earns 4% annually, they only earn 2%. And you have to make them aware of this. Now, what did you do? There's no more of these downsides. You'll never participate in these downsides again. You'll only participate in the upsides. You'll never lose when the market dies. You can't lose a dime. You can't lose any money. No money can be lost. There's no fees. Taxation is less. This is what people are doing today. 401ks were errors ago. I know change is difficult, but this is what you need to do to protect your wife. You need to get this number up to $300,000 in 10 years. Now that'll be $600,000 in the next 10 years following. Here's what I want to do is all the interest that's earned from here, next year you're going to be able to pull $30,000 out if you choose, okay, if you want to. You don't have to, but you're allowed 10% a year for the next 7 or 10 years, and then you can take it all out without penalty. So at this point, we want to pay for your product, your $50,000 life insurance policy, without coming out of pocket. You're just going to use the interest from this. So you're going to use the interest to pay for this, okay? Makes sense? $200 a month, you not only sell a deal that doesn't come out of the client's pocket, but you sell an indexed annuity. You know what I mean? Because they understand now what the numbers are at the end of the month. And especially if you didn't pull this, if you don't get to this point, at least you explained before that they can afford the $200 a month. But if you get to this level of sales, you can not only sell big numbers, because that $150,000 is going to pay most of you somewhere between $5,000 and $10,000 or more. And then you also add this sale into it. So you walk away with a $13,000 sale, you know, or $12,000 sale, not a week, a sale. You know what I mean? One sale. So this is how you get the big numbers out of yourself and people. We got Mrs. Jones. So as a reminder, go through the numbers with individuals, teach them. For mortgage protection, you're going to get in more homes with this new lead that we have. It's impossible. You're going to get in every single house. You're going to get, you buy 20 leads, you might get in 22 homes because of the referrals. It's unbelievable. You buy 20, you might sell 15 of them, to be honest with you. They're that special. I mean, they're just very innovative. They're new. They're not regular mortgage protection leads. They're just extremely innovative. They are. They're really amazing. So if you're interested in these leads, just contact me and I'll hook you up with them. But let's go into final expense. A lot of people don't understand what final expense. We have what they call just life insurance leads, which could be final expense or mortgage protection. But with final expense, most people walk in and it's just final expense. So, you know, final expense is a different ball game. It's a little less in premium, but I'm going to teach you how to get the premiums up and how to find annuities. So if you're selling final expense, you're going into a home, you're going to do the same process. Why is final expense any different than mortgage protection? It's just a lead, guys. So at the end of the day, you need to know, does Mrs. Jones, do you have a mortgage? You want to know? Yeah, we pay $1,000. I'm going to keep it even numbers for my sake, guys. We pay $1,000 a month in mortgage. You know that somebody has a mortgage. Now, somebody rents and they're married, the other individual has to keep the rent going too. So it doesn't matter if it's rent or mortgage. And why is this important? Because they have to keep this going when the other individual is gone. So instead of just selling the cremation and burial, which if demographically that's all they can afford, then I understand. But I'm teaching you how to upgrade the sale in homes that you can. Okay? So you have $1,000 on the table that you know that she has to come up with $12,000 a year just to pay the mortgage. So you know that number's on the table. So you want to buy her 2 years at a time, you know that you have to sell her a $25,000 policy. Now, Mr. Jones, respectively speaking, how much are you leaving behind in retirement? Is there any retirement left behind? Yeah, I used to be a teacher. I have a 403B. 403B. Okay, wonderful. Okay, so like I said before, guys, I'm going to come here. I'm going to teach you guys how to get this thing taken care of, the final arrangements and everything like that. But guys, I want you to understand all your options for today so your future is better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you, Mr. Jones, by the way, this 403B, how much is this leaving behind to Mrs. Jones? What will she receive from that as an inheritance? We're going to leave her $200,000. Okay, so cha-ching, I noticed $200,000 on the line. Mrs. Jones is going to receive this, and then I'm going to do an illustration. What I'm going to like to do is I'm going to go over these numbers too, but I'm going to show you something that everybody's doing today with this, and it might be optionable for you. It's just an illustration. I'm going to get this taken care of for you in a moment, but I'm going to take care of the house and the final arrangements first because, Mrs. Jones, you also have a mortgage to take care of above and beyond just the final arrangements. And I'm going to see if I can cover that with this too. Okay, fair enough? Great. So what you're doing is you're teaching them that they have these things to cover. It's called the need, guys. The need. Everybody has a need, and you have to figure out what it is or create it. See, a lot of you don't. You go in asking them what their need is without really coming to terms with the fact that you have to teach them the actual need. What is the need? What are some of the major things that people need to cover is the mortgage, the rent, cars, the electric bill, the phones, the list goes on and on and on. By the end of the month, most people have to pay $1,200 a month or $2,000 a month, depending on the demographics, even $3,000 a month just to survive. So you need to come up with this number on an annual basis and cover that. Make sure that you buy Mrs. Jones and Mr. Jones enough time when you're doing final expense or life insurance leads, as we call the other set of leads that we have. So put you in a position to sell either or. So with this being said, you have the mortgage down, you have $1,000. Mr. Jones, what will Mrs. Jones, well, first of all, out of the two of you, who earns the two of the higher Social Securities? Because that's what Mrs. Jones is going to be left with. So Mr. Jones says, I do. I have $2,000 a month coming in from that, and Mrs. Jones has $1,000. Again, you know that there's $3,000 in income coming in, but we have the mortgage, so you write down on a sheet of paper all this. You have $2,000 so far to work with and the rest of the bills to be paid. Is there anything else you'll be leaving behind to her? Yes, I have I was a teacher, I have a 403B left behind. So what will she receive from that? What's her inheritance from that? That's $200,000. Okay, great. So I'm going to do illustration on some things here, and it will be the final arrangements, 2, the mortgage, and then the annuity too. So I have 3 things to work with here: the final arrangements, the mortgage, protecting the mortgage, or what we call the equity inside the mortgage, because that's what you're truly covering. And if you learn to cover the equity, even in final expense sales, cover the equity inside the house and show them the equity. Now, next, flip your paper over. You got white sheets of paper. You're going through them. Flip it over and show them. Let's see if this red pen's in there. You have $1,000 a month coming in for mortgage, okay? That's how much you guys pay in mortgage. That's $12,000 a year. So your mortgage is how long? You've been here for what, 10 years? Okay, so you already have equity built into that. Most people with final expense have already been there because it's not a mortgage protection lead. So they already have equity built up into the house. We've been here 10 years. So I take this and I multiply that by 10 years. That's $120,000. And all you do is divide that by 2. That equals $60,000. Now it's probably more because of inflation on homes, interest earned. So it's probably more. Let's take it to $75,000. So there's $75,000. This is a final expense lead, and you're showing them how to cover the mortgage. This is how you get larger premiums out of people, but you're covering the cremation, the burial, and getting the equity for Mrs. Jones. And let them know about this because they missed it. They didn't see this part. 9 times out of 10. But also, in the script, you want to know a couple other things. I mean, obviously, you're going to want to know, do they have life insurance existing? And that helps you be in a position to sell more life insurance too. If in the beginning I had asked that question, I'm flying through this, so I'm skipping parts, but that part is important. Do you have life insurance, Mr. Jones? And if he says yes, I say, who's it with? Who? How much is it worth to Mrs. Jones? And under these stipulations, he might say, and how much do you pay in premium a month? I pay $75. You know what? I'm going to do the math even again. It's $100 a month for $50,000. Let's make it $25,000. And who's it with? I don't know who's it with. I'm not going to call out carrier's name. So who's it with is a question that you want to ask. Because if it's an index universal life policy, there's cost of insurance to it, guys, and you can use this to replace this policy. A lot of times I'll replace policies anyway because I'll say, look, either this policy is new or old. Either way, I'm going to try to get you more coverage. I'm here to do that. But in a sense, you have coverage, but I'm going to teach you that it's cheaper. Instead of getting 2 policies, it's cheaper to get 1 and bond them together. But the great part about that is you'll have cash value built up into this, Mr. Jones, and you may be able to pull. How long have you had this? Well, I've had it for 10 years. You're paying $100 a month into it. You might have $7,000 in cash value, maybe $5,000. You'll walk away with that plus 2 new products. Now, what you could do is you could use this cash value to pay for the policy. Or I'm going to show you another route to get the policy paid for, which for you would be using the 403B and showing them what an indexed annuity looks like on their 403B. Okay? So really, I know this might be confusing in advance, but it is what happens in the home if you want to make larger premium sales, period. And I can do easier sales for you, and I will, but this is the stuff you should be running into to sell larger premiums, guys. So, if you find an IUL, you try to get it replaced. Long story short, we're in here to cover the equity and final expense. Okay? So simply put, you're covering the equity and the final expense. At the end of this, I'm also going to present them. I told you, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, that I wanted to get the policy paid for. I don't want the policy coming out of pocket. So what I'm going to show you is how people are doing this today so you never lose another dime to market volatility, and I'm going to show you how to get this policy paid for. So I'm going to do an illustration for you, and all you do is call the annuity company, get the illustration sent to your email, and ask them simply, do you have a computer? Does it have a printer? I'd like to show you this right now. And if you don't have a way to show it, I like to do intangible things that are in their hand. So instead of using the computer to show them the illustration, you can literally have it in their hands. You can write on it, so it helps. And if they allow you to use the computer, that's a good sign for you, okay? So if you have a $200,000 product, you can show them in an illustration. It'll probably be 401. This will probably be a bump in bonus because they give a bonus just to start with them of $200 and let's say it's $210,000 to start. I don't know, could be 220 if it's 10%. And then this takes us to $440,000 in 10 years. Now they never lose a dime. That's the important part. Teach them they never lose a dime, and they're going to pay on the seed, not the harvest. So taxation's on the seed, not the harvest. This helps them understand that they pay less in taxes. Long story short, they have a mortgage to pay, so we want to get the premiums paid for using the interest from these policies every year to pay for the premiums, and this was a final expense lead. At the end of this, I probably sold a $25,000 policy, getting the premiums paid for, and I probably walked away with a $200 premium, maybe even $300, depending on the deal and the age of the individual. But they have it paid for, so what the hell do they care, That's the simplicity of that. Now, at the end of the day, you guys are going to start this out. You want to get the lead flow going. I know that a lot of you may be having trouble with your lead flow. If you are, consistent lead flow is very easy. Options are to start out in the industry ordering B leads. So when you get your A leads in a week, sometimes if there's overflux of orders, you may have to wait a little longer, but sometimes they come in overnight. It depends on the vendor again. See, this is a business. This isn't a brick and mortar for a lot of us, but it is a business. It should be run like a brick and mortar. So if you run it like a brick and mortar, you know that marketing can be difficult sometimes for your own business. And you have to learn how to get around the tough times. But if you look at the past and all the companies you've ever been with or the company you're with now, why are there people making $1 million a year or $500,000 or $250,000? Is because the system works, is why. So you can't continue to blame it on every time that something goes wrong, that it's the system that you're in. You have to take into consideration that it may be something that you don't know. I'm not saying it's your fault. I'm just saying you may just not know how to fix it. So I want to teach you how to fix things. So getting into this business, start ordering B leads from your company. They're cheap. They're like $3. Hell, some of these products used to be $50. And you know what I'm saying? They're just older. So what if they already have life insurance? Go there. Hey, Mrs. Jones, you know what? 9 times out of 10, I can beat that deal that you have. I'm already in the area. It's just an illustration on what you would pay with my company. So why don't you just take a look at it? It's not going to cost you anything. And if I could save you 50 or 100 bucks a month, it's going to make sense for you to do this. So, you know, that's how you get in a house on an older lead. And attitude means a lot. And when you're on that phone, you could really effectively be dooming yourself to failure or success just by the attitude you bring to the phone. You know, if I'm pleasant on the phone, it's going to be a pleasant set. I'm telling you right now. If I'm miserable, it's not going to work, man, at all. So I want to know, let me check on who's on. Do any of you have any questions so far? If you do, you can write them in that box below, or we can open the mic up and just ask. So does anybody have any questions? Anybody? So I'm going to review this real quickly. When you get a mortgage protection lien and you die, Edmund, hi, my name's Jason. I'm calling on behalf of Gateway Mortgage Group. You had requested some information on mortgage protection. I'm the rep that handles that area. I'll be in your area tomorrow. Will you and your wife be available at 10 a.m.? Oh, great. Okay. I'll see you at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Now, I need to confirm some information. Are you 66 years of age, or are you closer to 67? That's important if I'm going to do an index universal life illustration before I walk through the door. And if you want to be more advanced in sales and make more money, you'll learn how to do that strategy too. So do you have any health issues, a heart, lung, COPD, anything like that? No? Great. Wonderful. So Mrs. Jones will be there too, right? Okay. I'm going to confirm your address. All right. So what time did we say I'll be there? All right, great. Can you write that down? I'm going to write that down in my schedule right now. Can you do the same? All right, great. I'm going to see you at 10 a.m. tomorrow. All right, wonderful. I repeated the time that I was going to see him, and I even had him repeat it back. That's how you set appointments. You don't do it, get them to write it down. You're writing it down too. And it was fast. I can move on to the next one. You don't need 4-page scripts to set appointments, I promise you. I could crumble anybody in appointment setting just by a simple script. It doesn't need to be pages long, guys, really. So effectively, lay out a piece of paper like this. First of all, you know their names. You know their age. You know what the mortgage costs. How much is the mortgage monthly? It's $1,000. The next question, I'm going to do this like it would be in a house, but I'm going to do it quick. Mortgage is there. God forbid that something else so happens to you, Mr. and Mrs. Jones. Who of the two of you has the higher the 2 Social Securities? And I'm going to teach you why you asked this. I do. Mr. Jones has $2,000 again, just to keep it even. She has $1,000. Okay, great. Now, Mrs. Jones, you have a 6 to 12 month wait before you're receiving his $2,000. So that puts some time in there where you have to understand you're only surviving on $1,000 a month for possibly 12 months. Now, into the future, it could go longer. It could be 24 months later on and down the line. And that's, that could happen. So right now it's about 6 to 12 months So we have to find out, can you survive on $1,000 a month? Now, Mr. Jones, are you leaving her anything else behind, like a pension, 401k, any stock-based products? Yeah, I have, 401k again, if he does it. Now, also, do you guys have existing life insurance? Yes, we do. If I find out somebody has 1, 2, 3 policies, I'm going to find out the premiums for them, and I'm going to use those premiums to add a big policy together. I'm going to take these off the map, make sure that they can get covered, first of all, for what I do, and make sure it's not graded too, and get them covered with a $350 one product only, not 3. And then I'm going to get them large cash value. 9 times out of 10, they probably had it a while. So not only do they receive cash, they get a better policy through this system and probably a larger product than all these 3 can do. So that's important to do too, is manipulate the policies that they already have by doing a good job showing them that they can have cash value. 9 times out of 10, when I say, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, could you use money today? If I was able to come up with $10,000 today, would it be valuable to you? What the hell are they going to say? No, absolutely it's valuable. So when we do these strategies, you get more premium out of people, period. And when you're able to coach your team to get more premium out of people, you save on lead costs. So if I'm in the same 20 homes you're in, and I'm able to double the premium that you're pulling, that's what I want to give to you, is the fact that you can pull more premium, but you have to show them what's important again, what's left over at the end of the month. Mr. and Mrs. Jones, at the end of the month, do you live on $500 to $1,000 after all your bills are paid? Which one are you closer to? We're closer to 1,000. Cha-ching. I know the fact is they can afford an investment opportunity. That's why I sink them into the IUL at 7.14% on the cash. And it goes up to 12.5. All right? If you don't believe me, call the company. So if we're building cash value, and I know that they have this much money, I may want to get them a $200 policy, $300. I've sold $600, $1,000 policies easily using this kind of money because they see this. And once you have the cash value, if you printed this illustration before you go to the home, you already be able to present the cash values to them on paper. So if you know their age, you know their health, you're able to print the illustration even before you get to the house and give them tangible proof that this cash value is enormous. In 10 years at $300 a month, they probably have $35,000 put away in 10 years. They'd probably have $150,000 to $200,000 policy. So, and if they overfund it, if they double the amount that they're putting in, if they put $600 a month in, it's going to be like $60,000 or $70,000 in 10 years. Does that not make sense to do? Do you understand what you can teach people to do and how you can get very large premiums out of people? You're running into people like this every day, even in a final expense business. Sometimes out of 20 people, you run into 1, 2, 3 of these people, maybe even 4 or 5. But at the end of the day, you're able to teach people how to get their situation taken care of better. You're showing them illustrations, guys. You're not selling. If you get the sales part out of your mind and you start telling people and explaining what the opportunity lies in front of them, and they're able to put the math together and make sense as long as they can see it on paper. So you're showing them literally proof of everything that they could be a part of, you know, by bringing the illustrations there or printing the illustrations up in front of them. So start printing up illustrations and doing it the right way. Getting larger premiums out of people isn't hard, and it's the right thing to do for their future. If somebody has an extra $1,000 a month left over and they're putting it into a savings account, or they're just blowing it, are you helping them blow it? Put it in a savings account at 0.25% interest. Or would you rather take it and shovel even half of it into a high interest earning product? It makes sense. It does. I'm telling you right now, it really does. For them, it will too. So it's, at the end of the day, learning to sell index universal lives is an important part of the process, and knowing how to get it to age 100. So it's in cost of insurance won't affect it. And teaching them how to overfund it also. Long story short, you should have one too. Great, my girl's at the pool. I'm here teaching you guys, right? Is that fair or what? So again, is there any questions? There's a lot of people on here, and I get kind of saddened by, when I don't get questions, I kind of wonder, I guess everybody understands, and I question myself, did they get it? Does everybody understand? And if you give me some information back, write me, I can know if I'm doing a good job here. So if you don't get it, I need to slow down to go faster. We need to take another hour out then. God forbid you don't make $10,000 next week. But I promise you this, if you use these strategies, you will sell larger premiums, you will sell more policies, and you will make more money. I'm proof. I'm living proof of starting from nothing, zero, house taken, Harley gone, cars gone, everything you can imagine, and starting from zero and climbing to the top. So learn how to sell the IULs. Mortgage protection, average at $100 to $300 per app. Final expense, $100 to $200 per app. This is where you can get. So average at for high selling, final expense reps, $80 due to the fact of demographics. It's not the fact that they can't sell more, it's just demographically where they're at because of the leads. If companies would take the time out to spend more on the lead processes that they have and get better demographics for us, like we do, then you'd be able to sell higher, larger premiums. So if you understand demographics are very, very important to your process, that you end up going to the right company to work with. Anybody who's on here anyway. Richard, you on?
Yes, I'm on.
Okay, let me turn you up, bro.
Oh.
Well, there's a phone. All right. Okay. So where you at, Richard, again? You're in Cali, right?
Yes, I'm in Sandy.
Yeah, the demographics there, they're mixed up, right? They're kind of like all over the place too, like anywhere else. Or are you in a place where there's good demographics, financially?
It's all over the place.
Kind of mixed, right?
Yes.
But you can when you understand how to do the leads and the mailers, and you have a choice on where to mail this stuff at and where to drop leads, you obviously know where the demographics are. Then it helps your business, guys. I'm not kidding you. This new lead process that we have in place is going to innovate the whole industry. It's so new. Nobody has it. It's brand new. Everybody's going to want it, and eventually everybody will be using this technique. Get on board with this. Ask me what it is personally. Call me, text me, get a hold of me so you can understand what this lead process is. With final expense leads, we have over 6, 7, 8 vendors to choose from. There is no lack of leads. And we also provide in-home leads at cost. So whatever we get the lead at is what you pay for it. Whatever our cost is what you pay for. And you get to choose where you want it dropped. So for final expense, it makes it valuable. Instead of the company pouring them out and them landing in one huge county and you being all over that county, you can literally go by zip codes. You can cover the whole territory. You can cover a state. Cover a state. There's people in this industry that makes $30,000 a month that I shake hands with, $40,000, $50,000 a month because they're willing to go 3 hours out of the way. They're willing to drive to a territory where they spend all day and then they drive back home or they stay in a hotel room. This is a business of sacrifice. The person that sacrifices the most always earns the most. Or the smartest individual, now that's the sales game. Or the individual that sells the most using this technology to the opportunity wins too. So there's 2 avenues and 3 avenues. There's multiple avenues, multiple sources of income is what Napoleon Hill speaks. The wealthiest people in the world know it. And this opportunity gives you multiple sources of income if you use it correctly. But a lot of you aren't taking advantage of everything. When's the last time you contacted your upline? When's the last time you asked questions? Do we have new lead resources? Is there anything else I should know that I don't know? Really get involved in your upline and contact them. If your upline doesn't know what's going on, you're probably with the wrong organization or wrong individual. I'm sorry, but it's just, if they don't understand what to do for you, you're with the wrong person and wrong organization. If your money's being affected and you're not out there making money, it doesn't make sense for them either. And I don't know why these management don't get involved with people, because they're making money on the individual. They went to the efforts of hiring them, getting them licensed possibly, and then they throw them in the field and nothing happens. So what I'm here to tell you today is that we will micromanage you to teach you how to do every aspect of the business, from lead orders to recruiting, to building an organization, to using these systems that I put on this board, teaching your clients, prospects, how their numbers can go into effectively work for them and pay for products. Guys, if you can get this system down and you can get your products paid for using the annuity system or selling index universal life, just, even when I explain whole life, okay? If I explain a whole life product, I let them know that there's 3% interest on this game, on their cash value. Why? That's important to know. Why wouldn't I just say it's worth 10K, this is worth 20K, and not speak of the value that God forbid that you pass away in 12 months, Mr. Jones, that this money becomes yours while you're alive too. So if a doctor says that you only have 12 months to live, this is yours while you're alive. Now, not only that, $100 a month you're paying, which is in your budget, by the way, reinsure them, and a piece of it goes into here. So over the years, if you didn't want this policy anymore and you needed cash, in 10 years, this could be $5,000 or $6,000 built up into here, maybe higher even, and you're earning interest on it. So you have it out. So not only that, but most of these come with paid up editions. So if you get 10 years into this and there's $5,000 in there, well, the company may give you $7,000 in insurance, and you never have to pay for the product again. It's called the paid up option. And then there's additional, so I can add money to this. I can make this $20,000 and $40,000, adding accidental for just $3 a month on. Are you explaining everything to your clients, really? Are you giving them and showing them what they have left at the end of the month and all the options that they have with the product? Sell the product. Tell about the product and sell the product this time. Get into knowing what the offers and protect these people properly by examining your products, understanding what they offer, and then pitching the product in a way where it protects them in several different ways. See, when people think that their premiums are just going out the door and into the ether, they don't want to do much with that. But if you explain to somebody that's worried about money, and most of these people are, you're able to get them to buy the product. So if somebody's worried about money and you're able to tell them, your Social Security is this, you have this, at the end of the month, you have $500 a month left over and all your bills are paid. So effectively speaking, if I took $100 of that and I showed you how to make an investment of 3% interest earnings on this money, it's not going to kill you. And guess what? It pays your Mrs. Jones the money she's going to need to survive. See, your math doesn't make sense, Mr. Jones, for her to survive the longevity that she's going to be with. If you pass away 10 years from now, even 15 years from now, she may live till 90. So it's a smart move and it's an investment. Now, if Mrs. Jones dies before you, you just take the cash value out. You just walk away with the cash. It's no big deal. Somebody's getting money in this situation. Nobody loses, okay? Guys, if you're selling rated products and you run into somebody that doesn't want to buy a 2-3 year product, some of the products explained to them are 30% first year, 70% second. After the 24th month, it's 100%. If it's not that way and it's ROP, let them know it's more money than they'll have. Guys, say this. Mr. Jones, are you going to die in 2 years? How many years you got to give to us, man? You got 10 years in you? 20? Yeah, I got 10. Well, it's not a worry then, man. And guess what? You're earning interest on your money. Now, if you don't want it again, Mrs. Jones dies before you, you walk away with the cash inside this thing. So if you're not going to die in 2 years anyway, what are you worried about? So, you got to explain every detail, man. You've got to get into writing it down. Everything I'm writing on this board should be written on a piece of paper in front of the client. Everything I've done here, sheets of paper. I don't have my bag. I had something I want to show you. I wanted to show you a few homes I've done in the past. and show you what I've done illustration-wise on sheets of paper, on a clipboard and pen. Presenting to them every aspect of the product and everything that's happening in the future, and where Mrs. Jones will lie financially, where he'll lie financially, where they're both at financially, and what they can afford. So if you do it this way, you will sell more product, period. So, you know, hey, Richard, do you have any questions, boss? Like anything you need to know, man. Nothing here is a stupid question. And 9 times out of 10, the question you ask, somebody else is wondering anyway. You know what I mean? Any questions, Rich?
So do you ever after you show them and they be like, they have to go with the advisor or something like that?
Wait, it was going in and out. So speak that again. Say that clear.
I say after you show the client the presentations, do you ever have an objection with them saying they have to go with a financial advisor or consultant?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And you know what? That's something that you run into. So here's where you get around that. One, first of all, if you're good enough and you're able to get the Mrs. Jones to understand it, Mrs. Jones, you have fees that you probably don't know about. And a lot of times I know that you think you know all the fees, and he illustrates you may have only 2% coming out or 1%. But at the end of the day, if you're making 4% or 3%, you made 1% last year, you made 2% this year, and so on and so on. So, you know, the 401k thing's averaging like 3%. And sometimes, you know, with all the ups and downs, it's like the average across the board, maybe 4%, possibly 6% on a high note. But the fees, so Mrs. Jones, what I'd like to do is let's contact the company and talk to the brokerage. You know, get around the broker if you can. Get to the brokerage and get the account number to them, ask for permission to speak on her behalf, and start asking them about the product. What does she have to pay in taxes? What does her loved one pay in taxes if she dies? What fees is she paying now? And when you ask the fees, sometimes I've had people have a $100,000 policy and they were paying $500 a month in fees and they didn't know about it. So you never know what situation they're in. They are trusting somebody 9 times out of 10 they've never met. So if you can get them, the company on the phone, Rich, and advise them through what the hell's actually going on with this product, they're going to see the light real quick. Now, guess what? You also should have your illustration in front of them by now. You can't just talk about this product. You can't put it just on paper. Hey, I can take $100,000 and turn it into $200,000 using an indexed annuity, Mrs. Jones. You need to have tangible proof. That's why I'll say in the house, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, do you have a printer? Do you have a computer? Do you have a printer? Okay, may I use that? I want to show you the illustration. I want to get it in your hand so that way you'll be able to think about it. And I say think about it. I do, because I'm going to be able to sell this anyway. I know who's buying and who isn't. Sometimes annuity sales can take 2 or 3 visits, okay, before they know. Yes, they may want to talk to their stockbroker. If they do that, the convincing part is that they're afraid of change, period. He's going to pull apart. Learn, if you can, try to learn what stockbrokers say to their clients when they try to rip it apart. Oh, you don't want to do that. You don't have access to all your money. Well, who the hell wants access to all your money? When's the last time, Mr. Jones, you've taken $100,000 out of your account? Never. Okay, don't worry about taking $100,000. It's not going to happen. So if the advisor is probably going to tell you that, oh, you have no access to the money. Yeah, sure. You're not touching it anywhere. But you are participating in the upsides of the market. You're earning 8% to 13%. And the proof is in the past. So you can show the proof by the past 30-year look back some of these companies have. Every year they did this. Most companies, people were selling out there. I'm not going to talk about the carriers, but most people were getting people 3% interest. And that's just bullshit. That's garbage. It's not good. Some people do that just for their own sake of getting a higher comp level. And they're not protecting the person correctly. So let me find out where that person is. I'll give them big bonuses. I'll pull them out. I'll put them in a higher interest product. But with us, you have the higher interest products. You're able to sell them, and you got the lead that put you in front of them. The lead, man, is what puts them in front of you. So, Rich, to answer your question, what you need to do is, one, you can get in front of the individual's brokerage. You can contact them and talk about tell them that we are able to cover any individual regardless of their health issue or meds. Baby, they see that, so they already know. So you're able to cover everybody. Well, Alyssa's saying we can cover anybody. With this, you get on the phone and you contact the brokerage. Brokerage, not the broker. You get around the broker. You contact the brokerage and you tell Mrs. Jones, here's the fees. We want to know what the actual fees are. Okay? We want to know what the taxation is. Well, maybe they can't tell you that, but 9 times out of 10 they can't. We want to know what you've been earning over the years. Here's a big one. Fees and earning. These two are the biggest ones because they come to this point here because if the fees are 2% and she's earning 6% and she's thinking I'm earning 6%, she's only earning 4% when you're showing her how to earn 8%. Never lose. Mrs. Jones, this isn't always this way. Your market's like this, okay? This is you. You're participating in all these downsides and making up for it with a few high upsides. But across the board, you're earning 3 to 4%, and you're losing money. See, what my system does is it never loses a dime. It always goes up, and it doesn't have these fees. Mine's just continuously going up. Now, if the bottom end of the barrel breaks and this thing comes out of whack, the market, let's put two side by side, 100 grand and 100 grand. Okay? Well, first of all, they're going to start at $110,000. There's a bonus, a lot of bonuses. Sometimes there isn't, sometimes there is. Now, the market shifts up. This goes up to $120,000. Let's talk first year. And this goes up to $125,000. Now, second year, this one bumps up to 165. This one bumps up to 150. Now the market dives. This one comes back down to 120. This one stays at 150. Now the market comes back up. This goes to 150. This goes to 160. Now this thing's going to crush it all the way through. And at the end, this all happens time and time again. This cycle that she goes through just to bless her with the same amount. Now, a lot of people have IRAs out there that you can automatically tell that just never work, man. They will tell you right now that 9 times out of 10 when I talk about IRAs that they aren't earning much. They don't earn anything 9 times out of 10. And some do, but in our demographics with small numbers, they're not really earning anything. Stockbroker don't care about 10, 20, 30,000 bucks. And these small little annuities that you're able to find out there make a big difference in your game. So get out there and start selling annuities, guys. Rich, that was a good question. How about some more? You got any more? Come on, man. Shoot me down here. Try to stump my ass. Give me something, Rich. Anybody who has questions, man. Get on the question thing. Who's Ant? Ant, do you have any questions? Ant, you have any questions? Anybody have any questions on Facebook? Somebody said hello to me. Hi, Marissa Ferrero Smith. Okay, guys, so got to get your lead order in, okay? You got to get trained up. I don't know if you're not getting this. I hope to God you are, because it makes a world of difference inside the home. You getting this information is just valuable for you to get in a way where if you learn to sell final expense, mortgage protection, and annuities, you have 3 different weapons of selling. Plus team building. Mark, it's killing me. Team. We teach you how to recruit. We give you ZipRecruiter. We train your reps So you're building an downline and your cash flow goes up. When you do this and you get 5 strong people, do it this year, 2018, find 5 to 10 strong people. Once a month, find one person, just one person to add to your game. That's 12 people across the year. And let's get 5 of them selling $10,000 a week, which is $50,000 a month, which gets you, an extra, $1,000 or so. So your leads are taken care of. Maybe it's 2,000, 3,000, I don't know. But your leads and your car payment, mortgage is taken care of. But long story short, if you use these strategies and you're asking to get the numbers out of Mrs. Jones, you're going to sell more product. Mrs. Jones, again, if you have the ability to do that, like I said, I write down their names, age, 65. I know their age, I know their income. Out of the 2 of you, this is important. Out of the 2 of you, who earns the 2 of the higher Social Securities? Why am I asking? Why am I prying? Does anybody know why I just asked that question? Well, first of all, there's 2 reasons. 1, I want to know the income in the home. 2, I want to know what Mrs. Jones is going to be left with. So at the end of the game, here's Mrs. Jones. When I ask that question, Mr. Jones has $2,000 and she has $750 a month. Mrs. Jones, just so you're aware, it takes 6 to 12 months, and it usually takes about 12 for you to receive his $2,000 in income. So you're aware you're going to be living on $750 a month. Best case scenario, 6 months. Worst case, and it could go to 24 months someday. So what we need to do is make sure you're protected through this time. So Mr. Jones, do you have anything else you're leaving behind to her? Do you have life insurance? No. Do you have a 401k? Investments? No. Very important, usual situation for final expense, covering this situation. Not just covering the funeral, but also covering the mortgage. So it turns into mortgage protection. You buy her time. Why? Why? Because they've probably been living in a house for some time. 1 to 15 years, 30 years. Maybe they're at the 15th or 20th year, and there's $100,000 in equity in this house. And she can't afford to stay here making the mortgage payments. So this is her gold mine. This is her real inheritance, is the house. Mrs. Jones, if he was no longer here, would you even live here anymore? Would you stay in this house? No, I probably wouldn't. It's a big house. Would you be able to get, clean this? And okay, no. So what we need to do is pay for the mortgage for a time being to sell the house. You want to sell the house. It's an important strategy. All I did was, out of the 2 of you earns the 2 of the higher Social Securities. Do you have life insurance? Do you have a 401k? Are you leaving her anything else behind? That's how you want to present it. You present it that way, you'll be able to get more out of people without them thinking that you're prying. So we have this all covered up. We got any more questions that anybody has? I don't know what you guys do in a home. I don't know what you run into, but I've run into it for years. And I'm telling you right now that this system works. If you use this system, I will bet you next week you find an annuity. Or I should say find money for an annuity. What is an annuity? What can be an annuity? An annuity can be an annuity. Cash value can be an annuity. Savings can be an annuity. IRAs can be an annuity. 401ks can be an annuity. 403bs, stock-based products. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different items that you run into in a house that you can turn into an annuity. There's no excuse not to sell. Really isn't selling annuities. Or wait, just at least presenting the opportunity. Okay? Start presenting the opportunity. You're not going to sell them all. You may present 100 annuities a year, and you may sell 50 of them. You may sell 20 of them. But I may guarantee you this, it's going to add between $10,000 and $100,000 a year to your income, depending on who you are and how much you do. So 9 times out of 10, it's somewhere in between here. So if you're able to add another $50,000 on, that's going to help your business. That's more than most people make in a year. And you did it with like 5, 10, 20 people, you know? So it makes sense to get into the annuity industry. At the end of this, you know, you're finding these annuities, by the way, through these lead process. But in mortgage protection, especially with these new leads we have, they're phenomenal, unbelievable. I mean, what you gotta understand. I need you to text or call me to get more details on that. Alyssa, if you could put up my phone number and put text and join on there on Facebook, that would be helpful. Okay, again, anybody have any questions? Because like I said, I do not know what you're running into. And I know you're on the webinar, but I never met you, so I'm trying to figure out who you are and if you need any help. And if there's something I can help you with, man, open the mic up and let's ask some questions. Richard, is there anything else you need, brother? Like any other things you're running into? Take advantage of this right now. So next week, you go out and write, man. That's what this is about. I'm taking my own time out to do this, man. Let's ask some questions, please. What do you got? What do you run into, Rich? We'll give it a couple more minutes and then I'm out. All right, guys, I guess that's it for this week. If you didn't catch the video, it's every week, 10 a.m. weekly, has been for years now. And if you want to be a part of the organization, or if you have questions, or if you want me to consult your organization, please text JOIN to 352-255-2594, and I will contact you back and give you all the details of the consulting. And you can build an organization. You can get the new leads are for mortgage protection. I'm telling you, they're going to innovate the industry. We have them. Only company that has them, and you can have them too. So get out there, get with us, learn about the lead systems, contact your upline, ask them questions, and understand what's going on in your own business. What are the options? What are you missing? Why aren't you earning $10,000 a week? Could be as simple as lead flow. It has to come in, obviously. On top of that, you know, I know, you know, when you're new to the organization, for all you new people out there, when you first start out and you're new to an organization, you have to give it time. You got to put the pressure on the time, not the organization. So the time is what you need. Give it time. Most of us give 30 days to 60 days, get frustrated, and get out, and never get to that level that others go to because they were willing to get through all the bullshit. So please stick to the game, order your leads, get the flow down, and contact your upline for more details about what's going on in your own organization. Get on the calls, get on the training, and do what's right. Read the books out there on sales. Learn, learn, learn. This is like being a doctor and an attorney. You're constantly got to be educating yourself in this industry. Have you contacted a carrier to learn new products or any products at all lately? When's the last time you called your downline just to check on them? When's the last time you ordered 5 to 10 more leads in your bucket just to build your income more? And try it, test it, see if it works, because it does. And if you use the systems I teach, you're going to double, quadruple the amount of premium that you're pulling out of people, and you will find annuities and money and IRAs and everything else that comes with it. Guys, this works. I've been doing it for years, and I'm telling you, this works. So if you have any questions, please text JOIN to 352-255-2594, and I will see you sometime this week. We'll do another training webinar, and every Saturday at 10 a.m. All right, no more questions. I'm going to get out of here. Thanks, guys. Enjoy your weekend.